Hello! A good evening to everyone, and welcome to a brand new Chronicle of Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Edition, with some house rulings, as usual. Welcome everyone, I'm so happy to see everyone here. The chat is very lively, more than I expected to start with. Thank you for coming. Today we mark the beginning of a new chronicle that will be divided in a few different stories. First of which begins with our pack forming. Before we set in motion the events of the story and all the mysteries that will unfold, we're stepping back a little bit with a prelude, the Rite of Passage. But before we get in depth about that, let's present people, and I still need to set up Mundus's avatar, so while I do that, I would love for my lovely players to give a short introduction of themselves and their characters. I'm going through layout and technically auspice order. Starting with Theory.
Yeah, I just noticed that I'm all the way to the left and already got nervous. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for so many people to show up to this. My name is Viri. I go by ViriChiba on most social media, mainly on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Twitch. I do some streaming on Twitch, mostly gaming stuff, some art stuff, and I sometimes read books. Right now we're reading Terry Pratchett's Guards. Enough advertisement for myself. I'm gonna be playing Thorsten, who is I jokingly said myself, but if I was cool and really, really big, just a huge chunk of a punk. This is my
huge merit.
It is. He's huge. He is mechanically huge, which I love. This is my first time playing Werewolf the Apocalypse at all. This is my first time taking part in an actual play stream. I'm incredibly nervous and incredibly excited, and thank you all for having me, and thank you all for being here and watching us.
Next up is Van.
Hi, my name is Van. I am a miniature painter and role-playing hobbyist in general. I have a few various art accounts, but they're not particularly active. I'm going to be playing Alexander, who is a kind of just the big teddy bear of the group, the sort of social glue and general mender of what ails ya. And I've been playing. This is my second Werewolf campaign that I've partaken in. First actual play. Actually, first live streams in general, so I'm pretty excited for this and stoked to see what Lee's got in store for us.
Morag.
Kia ora. I'm Morag. I'm going to be playing Klaus, a wolfborn Philodox. Pardon me. Apologies if I sound a little croaky or I cough a little. I've just recovered from COVID. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing the concept is like autistic big bad wolf / motherly big bad wolf. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try really hard to do a German accent, which I've been practicing. But if it sounds a little fucked up, that's put it down to the wolfborn having learned English from stalking hikers or something. So they've all got different accents. It's a little fucked up.
Mundus. If you're around. Maybe not.
Maybe not. While Mandas is getting ready to speak, someone said Motherly Big Bad Wolf is already my favorite. Mine too.
Honestly, I
That
would
sounds
say,
pretty cool.
honestly, Autism Wolf, I think that's just the entire game.
It's pretty much.
I think it's
I
everyone
said that
in
first,
here.
and I was like, maybe that's a little redundant. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, did we have to
Little
mention that we're
redundant.
autistic? Is that, I
Like-
thought that's
Oh yeah, no, I've been playing World of Darkness games for a while, but mostly Vampire, a little bit of Changeling, but the last time I did Werewolf was like 3 years ago, and it was someone trying to adapt it to set in my country, Aotearoa, which has a very low population density. The entire country's population is about like 5 million, I think, and it's larger than the UK. So it would be a very different kind of vibe to this game, I'm sure.
If Mandas... Is Mandas around? Then we can type in Discord. Maybe microphone bugged again, I don't know. In the meantime, Blarg, oh, yeah, leaving the Discord, it will be fine, hopefully. But in the meantime, Blarg, your character.
Okay, I was in between mouthfuls of popcorn, but I am happy to present myself. Hi, I'm... Oh, is the thingamabob working?
The what?
yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
profile thing on Twitch.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Glad to hear that. Hi, I'm Blarg. I am a gamer who is gaming online with friends. I don't really have that many socials going on, but I've been playing like fucking World of Darkness games for a while now, starting off with forums and then ended up like here with my first Werewolf the Apocalypse game actually being also story-told by you, Lee.
Wait, that was your first Werewolf game?
Yeah, Lamal.
I didn't know that. I thought you had... I didn't know that.
How did you not know that?
Interesting, go on.
Okay,
Well,
this is a fun revelation to have.
Interesting. You know, it's even better. I was about to say when you finished, like, and Blarg is my longtime player. We've been friends for years. He's playing a bunch of my games, and he's played Werewolf with me before. Good thing that was Rite of Passage I was running, because apparently it was your first Werewolf game, and I was somehow not aware of that.
I was not aware you were unaware of that, but
I mean,
that as it may.
if serves as a compliment, it didn't look like it was your first Werewolf game.
Excuse me as I flex off camera.
No, you're an amazing player. You also commissioned me to draw your character, but that's as much detail as we're going to divulge about that.
Yes, indeed. Well,
Well,
on that note, I have
yeah.
a different... Oh,
Yeah, no,
I'm
go.
just gonna go off on the fact that I have a different character going on tonight. Namely... Hello?
Yeah, well, go on.
So, I'm playing Jakob Kuibenschädel, or Peppy, as he is called by friends. And do you prefer if I go Jakob or Peppy? Because I like both, but you know.
It's up to you, really. It's up to everyone. It's like, oh, you can call me Peppy. Okay, Jakob. I think that would tell a lot about an interaction. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm just giving an example.
Understandable. Okay, well, since I got the name flashing on the screen for now, Jakob is a... Yeah, he was just born as some guy in Europe, tried to live his life decently enough, ended up working as a trucker when the first change happened, and yeah, now he's Hamid Arun, trying to make his way through this very confusing and very dangerous world of darkness. But
I
the
just want to
bright
say
side
that
is- Oh,
I just want to say I'm very surprised that we somehow ended with all 5 auspices. We very
Insane.
Really?
we very nearly had 3 Ragabash, but more on that later.
I'm gonna say that this is a good sign. It's a sign.
That is very
my-
cool.
on my side, this was very auspicious since, like, I basically decided on a whim. Because the moment we had session 0, it was a full moon, so we were like, okay, our own time.
Yeah, I thought you were going Ragabash, and if Van hadn't grabbed the merit as well, he would have been an Arcus, which means he would also be a New Moon, which is the same role. So would have 3 fucking Ragabash, which would have been hilarious, but this keeps things interesting. On that note, Mondes, if things are well on your end now.
Hello, my
Hello.
name is Mundus. My pronouns are it and she. And I am a storyteller of over 25 years now. I've been running games for a very long time, and I don't play very often. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to unleash myself a little bit at this table. I am going to be playing Rota, who is a hearthbound galliard. She is similar to the autistic wolf. She herself is autistic. She was raised very remotely, away from a sept and away from a tribe, in a cabin in the woods. And her only contact with humanity up till this point has been through fairy tale books. And so she has learned to... She venerates fairy tales and stories in many ways. And this has given her a spiritual affinity with the woodsman.
Absolutely love the cast we have. Really, this pack is amazing, and what's going on behind the scenes, let's just say. I'm very excited to see how things are going to unfold. So now, before we officially begin, some context, as is usually good to give. Like I said, this is a major chronicle that is going to be set in Germany, around the region of Black Forest, in the fictional town of Kempten. Well, found out later there is actually an existing Kempten, but that's in Bavaria. We're in Black Forest, so it's fine. This is fine. It's Kempten in Schwarzwald, so it's good. This is also 1986. Thelios is yet to show on the dark sky, although there are already signs of what the future holds for the Guru. This is basically the biggest sept of the Ghetto Fenrir. Except they're understaffed and they fell a bit on hard times, and they're still recovering from that. It's also worth mentioning, despite this being Werewolf 20th edition, we are playing with house rules and homebrew and all of that, and some previews of what you can expect from our project. Werewolf The Essentials, who Mundus is the director for, and you can also check the new tribe, Hearthbound, on Storyteller's Vault, also by Mundus, an amazing new supplement and an amazing new tribe. But on the note of the tribes, as you will notice by the layout, everyone has their breed and auspice listed. Technically, they're all cubs, and they haven't been fully accepted into the tribes yet. So that's still to come, even if they already have a certain disposition. And, of course, we have another exception. Alexander is not a guru. In fact, Alexander is an oddity, or rather, as someone the Sept would say, an impossibility. A werebear, a ghoul, which is why he already has his glyph at the top, symbolizing where he belongs to, because ghouls don't technically do have tribes, but doesn't matter that much. I mean, like, same difference. It's not like the Guru tribes.
Yes.
Honestly, Guru tribes are more like about the regions they're located in, actual like tribal culture and all of that. There is some
Sure.
flavor, but at the end of the day, and technically, well, those details only for the actual game. Like I said, this is a Brawler Chronicle, and it will be heavily focused on investigation and uncovering the mysteries that are suddenly cropping up all over the region. Quite mysteriously, legends coming to life. But before all that, before we get to the action and to the lives of the werewolves, every story starts somewhere. And every guru has to endure a trial, a coming of age, before they're actually considered fully part of the nation. And this is going to be our first story. Supposedly short, but we never know. We go as long as the players want to have fun with it. The Rite of Passage is an incredibly important moment of any guru's life. It's when they understand who they are, face the trials of their tribes, embody their auspice, are accepted by a patron, and sometimes pacts form out of Rites of Passage, and this is the story we'll be following today. So, without further ado, welcome to Werewolf the Apocalypse, Shadows Over Kempten, Session 1, Call of Gaia. Gaia's Call, I misspoke my own title. Our prelude story. Let's get into this. You're not in the set at this moment. Perhaps you were earlier today. Some of you have already been at the set for a while now. Training for a few months, others for barely over a week. You have been briefly introduced. Some of you may have had more time to mingle with one another, others practically none. But it all culminates in this. The time had come. Much earlier in the morning, you are awakened by your elders and told to prepare. Gather all you needed. Which really was very little, as you're supposed to make ends meet, so to say. I still need to change in the actual calendar, but we're in the middle of fall. Let me advance the time. Right now it is around 6 in the morning, or breaking into 6. It is very early, and it is very cold. Black Forest is a very cold place, very cold region. But this place where you were taken to, a clearing at the foot of the mountains, is eerily cold. More than you would have expected at this time of the year. Everything is covered in snow, more so than in some places are already starting to see some of it, but it's very early snow for the time of year and the region. Way too much snow, way too cold, almost supernaturally so. You're escorted Some of the elders arrived first, the rest escorted you here when all was said and done. It seemed they had already started some sort of ritual for what's to come, finishing shortly after you've arrived. Right now, stand among yourselves. The people that you can see here right now is the Elder Council, the Rite Master of the Sept, who also acts as its gatekeeper, and another individual. Let's break this scene down a little bit. You're standing a little further behind, the five of you together. Not far from you, leaning over a tree, is a woman. A massive woman, and that's even for Torsten's and Jacob's standards. You don't think you would be her size even in Krynos, except she's also in Krynos. But she's not a werewolf. She is mostly familiar to Alexander, a she-bear, clad in heavy clothing and some armor, all of it adorned with glyphs of all sorts, some which you recognize, some that are faded, likely from time. Your origin, Alexander. As you've heard it, your change was not only unexpected, but by some believed to be impossible. The Gurul have been considered extinct in this part of the world for quite a few centuries now, alongside your more feral kinfolk counterpart, the Eurasian bear, although some conservation centers and zoos might have those. No such luck in the wilds. Of course, you are also not wild. That is a story we told at around another fireplace of your choosing. Regardless of what led to this practical miracle, it awakened one of the old ones, an elder of the Gurul, who slept away in spiritual hibernation in the depths of the Umbra, in return awakened by your change. It's still not clear to you why she has opted for this. Gurul are not the type to usually stay around. They usually go over a period of training with their mentor, and then part ways. Some choose a location to stay at and protect and take care of and perform their duties, others wander for long, going wherever they're needed, wherever their expertise and duties are needed. She was distrustful of the Sept at first, but ultimately decided to stay and have your Gallivant period here, perhaps even further than that. But her reasoning has been very vague. Upon any sort of questioning, her replies were likely in the vein of circumstances demanded, and not much more than that. Vague answers. Always as if it's not the time to discuss that. She always has this look in her eyes, as if she's deep in thought, considering too many things. She stands in her bare form against the tree, just staring around, focused, stern, occasionally glancing over at the pack with curiosity. Up further ahead, the elders speak among themselves. And that's where we start with the introductions. You have, if you check the character folders, you already have some NPCs unlocked, which mainly for you to remember their names. And I'm gonna save best for last, of course, and speak of the Grand Elder after. But 4 of the elders stand together on one side, while another one of them to their left speaks with the Rite Master. Among the 4, the Grand Elder speaks with her council. First of them, Counselor Lothar Preemptive Strike, as he is known among the group. The right-hand man of the Grand Elder, a Ragabash of the Ghetto Fenris. He is of mixed reputation. Effective, his skills are not up to question, of course, and he is considered to be an excellent advisor, but not exactly easy to get along with. Not many people could say they've had warm encounters with him. That's considering if they even had more than 5 minutes of direct speech with him and not just some moot or elder meeting. He's not a social butterfly, it seems, at least not with the young of the sept. Skinny man, starting to show signs of age. His once black hair is covered on the sides by white, short, well kept. Hard to tell if the white is a sign of aging or just a side effect of being a werewolf, with the telltale white fur the Get are usually covered in. Who knows? Or maybe it's stylistic. I mean, who could tell? Literally no one knows much about the guy personally, so maybe he has a fashion style. Across him, standing in Krynos form, despite being wolfborn, is the War Master, Ironjaw the Blood-Carved. Undoubtedly an Arum of the Get, with a name like that. Technically, despite the Sept having a warden, he is the true warrior of warriors of the Sept. The war chief, so to speak, who takes the front along the warden and wormful in times of need. Although seems to hold great respect for the Grand Elder. Also not one many had the pleasure to really converse with and get to know more closely. Granted, full moons don't usually have the best temper, especially not when they're that old. But unlike Counselor Lothar, it seems more of a consequence of rage than just some sort of unlikable personality. People don't tend to have bad opinions of Ironjaw, even if they're a bit intimidated. Who knows, maybe he's nice under all that fur. And speaking of which, all of these people, even those in their war forms, are mainly wearing heavy clothing. He, of course, is the exception. He is minimally dressed, with some armor on, and by armor I mean a shoulder pad. And his body is not only covered in war scars, battle scars, but also in tattoos and war paint of a deep blood crimson color. And even his eyes, brown as they are, dark as they are, and the light hit just right, seem to show that blood-like hue. And every word that comes out of his mouth is very grumbled, but then again, he isn't Krynos. And with them, some would say an outsider, who's earned the title of Spy Master, as the Get surely loved their titles, and those outside the tribe were not spared for the higher ranks. Mircea Shadow Whisper, a Philodox of the Shadow Lords, one of those who came when leadership changed, and the Sept invited, opened itself up to other tribes, needing their aid. The Grand Elder seems to have mainly neutral opinions on him, and tolerates him. He and Lothar, most would have noticed by now, even those who have been around for a short period. As you can also see right now, the occasional glances Lothar throws at his direction, it seems the two seem to despise each other. Always trying to one-up one another. Mircea is quite tall, a thin man, very well-kept beard, dark, medium-length hair, almost long, medium to long. Brushed to the side on one side of his face. He has a bit of a tidy appearance. You look at him and you think, proper. And his eyes are deep. He has that intense gaze as if nothing escapes his watchful eyes, as if every detail is laid bare before him. There's always a smirk to the corner of his mouth. And before we talk about the arguably best character in this entire game, the other two off to the side. One of the last of the Elder Council, and the Rite Master and Gatekeeper of the Sept. Starting with the Elder, who's also got his own title, being part of the Council. Lord Keeper Rune, Song of Remembrance. Krynos born, of the Children of Gaia, is also a Galliard. His war form, as I mentioned, as is his fellow. Some heavy clothing, a thick fur collar around his neck. The fur is very helpful. The fur of his form, not the one around his neck, but both, arguably. Very helpful against this cold. Doesn't seem too bothered, although the Get are definitely more comfortable in the winter, even though it's still fall, but with the way the forest is right now, it might as well be the Ice Age. And the Rite Master, of course, is also a Krynos born, a woman with an intense gaze, always a scowl on her face. She doesn't seem like she's ever had a good mood in her life. Naturally a Theurge, belonging to the Black Furies, evident by the coloration of her fur. Their conversation seems a little less enthusiastic, a bit too casual almost. Lastly, of course, the Grand Elder. Ragna, Voice of Gaia, Theurge of the Get of Fenris, the Zidak of the Sept, leader of the local werewolves. very old woman with gray hair, which is partially tied up in a bun up high in her head, the rest falling back. Wrinkles cover her face. Ice blue eyes. Wearing a colorful long blue tunic and a heavy cloak on her shoulders with that massive fur collar as well. She holds a staff on which she supports her hands, one with many carvings and glyphs all over its body, mainly symbolic to the Get and their tribe's culture. She's an imposing figure. She's not a massive woman, for Get standards at least, but even then her aura is commanding. She has that natural leadership and presence, and yet her expression is always soft. In her eyes you can see the wisdom and the many days upon this earth, but also kindness. For a winter wolf, there is a lot of warmth in her eyes. Despite her many years and her old age, there's life in her eyes. She always seemed calm and centered. Nothing seems to disturb her inner peace. No wonder she is the leader of the region. After the Sept nearly fell to many raids of Wormspawn, she united her people and she took a more reasonable approach to revitalize the Sept and really unify tribes and the nation and all the agents of Gaia around the region. Besides being an old Get, she really defeats all the stereotypes of how stubborn or stuck up or all of those things you hear about them. Though some of you barely heard any, due to the circumstances of your change and upbringing. Still, it is hard not to feel welcome by her. And she has in fact welcomed each and every single one of you personally when you first arrived in the Sept. She is a gentle soul, but you can see behind her eyes there's still the fierceness that is expected of an elder in her position. Absolutely no doubt she could wreck everyone's shit if she wanted to, but she chooses not to, which is good. Also, the image Ballard sent, really it's spot on. The face is exactly that. I'm still going to sketch her out. It's going to be interesting. I already struggle with human faces. I'm going to draw an elderly woman. Good. That actually makes me happy. Old people make me happy. I love her.
Make me happy.
For chat context, the image is Demeter, I think you pronounce her, the winter goddess from specifically the version from the game Hades.
I mean, I know it's from 80s, but I haven't played it, so I didn't know it was the meters of. Which would make sense.
I think it's Demeter, but yeah.
There's a chance
it's very on brand.
There's a chance both are right, but anyway.
It's all Greek to me.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Scars do cover her face and hands, and that's as much as you can see. So, yeah. I said peaceful, not pacifist. That is the scene. It's eerily quiet, and you've been waiting a minute too long, which could be making some of you a bit anxious, so... Free Ranks. This is where you are, this is what you see. It is worth mentioning there are a lot of ravens around, perched up in the trees, watching, cowing. Some of them watching with too much of a keen interest. Just thought I'd mention. You're free to do whatever and explore the scene before we move on.
Let me see. So Rota would be pretty nervous here. One, because this is one of the first time she's really interacting with other Guru like her. But also because she was often warned about other Guru by her own Guru parents. So she's gonna be avoiding making eye contact for right now.
This is a very good point to bring up, because absolutely, especially given the origin of your parents, they would have warned you. And they were surprised when they realized the sept they taught you about is not exactly the same sept as it stands today, as it changed a lot over the recent years. And you're expecting the worst. You did get some side eyes, but too warm of a welcome from what you were expecting, and it still has that feeling of nothing quite feels real. You're just expecting the moment the rug is going to be pulled out from underneath you.
Gotcha. So I'm feeling that sword of Damocles.
Uh,
So my character's probably gonna be consciously allowing other people to speak and act, and is going to be observing her assigned packmates and basically see how they interact with one another.
Also worth mentioning, if anyone hasn't yet, do note down some basic items in your gear, because you might want to make sure you have something before things start. And this is your last moment to say you've picked them beforehand. Because afterwards is every wolf for their, scavenging abilities, basically. But don't worry, any supplies you carry, I'm not gonna save you for long.
How nice. How quaint. Thank you.
I don't think a single one of you has resources, which means you're really limited to basics here.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then again, who would need a gun if you have, werewolf claws?
Who needs a gun? Honestly. Torsten is standing as in the middle of everything as he can, and is not nervously but incredibly excitedly looking around, like whole body turns to look at, oh, there were ravens over there, there's ravens in that fucking tree, look at the tree, those ravens are so cool, they're looking at me too, I love those ravens, looking at the elders, they look so cool.
The dogs from Up.
Yeah, basically that, but it's a 7-foot dude.
Funny you mention, perhaps it is the first time you meet someone as big as you are, as Jacob pretty much matches up in size.
My first thought, I saw this person, and my first thought was I can hug someone without holding back. Yes!
Hell yeah!
No, I want you to hug me without holding back. My back is not in the right place. Put that back. Put that back where it is.
But yeah, I also imagine I don't have working winter clothes. I have basically a raincoat I've sewn together myself out of 3 different raincoats.
Oh.
I'm freezing to shits.
Yeah,
but excited.
I guess that is a good moment to ask then, what is everyone wearing and which forms you are, because Thorsten, you are not fine right now.
No, this sucks.
Anyone not in a
go
third form, anyone in Homid or Glabro, basically, if you're not wearing heavy winter clothing, you're not feeling well. This is not fine, in the slightest.
Yeah, just to clarify, what forms are people taking?
Torsten is in Homid? For Homid
Yes.
form is what you say, yes? Okay, Homid form.
Alexander is working on practicing being in Hamid form, likely dressed in mostly skins and hides that more than anything else, because that's just kind of what is around him. And if there is any food, he is definitely eating. Even if there is not food, he probably snuck some in.
I mean, you could have brought your own food, which would be the only thing you have to eat.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and he's constantly eating.
Yeah, you don't have the huge merit. I can't believe 2 players grabbed the huge merit. I am actually very happy about that.
Oh, someone else took huge after all?
I mean, that's what I was saying, like Jacob, that's why he matches in size. He also has huge merit. He is also mechanically huge.
We're mechanically huge, dude. Okay.
Mechanically big gang, let's go!
Let's
Like,
go.
I gave that merit to the warden, almost as a joke. And I didn't expect anyone to actually grab it, and then you 2 did, and I'm very happy about it. Now there's 3 characters that are massive.
I was just holding back on making a joke that, of course, you would make a large woman to be the warden.
The warden is a man, actually.
Oh, whoops, my bad. I don't know. I sorry, I was thinking of the Gural.
Well, the Guru is not a warden, but she doesn't need a merit. She's a Guru. She is a big woman by default.
Yeah. I would say Alexander too is probably not as mechanically huge, but is a large individual.
Definitely. Well, with skins and pelts, you're probably a little bit better in this cold. Could be better if you had fur covering your body, but you know. Better than a
doing it more out of
patchwork
practice
raincoat.
than anything else.
And you also
Just
have a
getting used to it.
mentor. She probably would have given you a coat before you came. Unfortunately for Torsten, who also has a mentor, their mentor is Bonauer, which means if you didn't think about bringing a coat yourself, that's part of the lesson.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Rota grew up in these woods, and so she is accustomed to the weather, and so she came wearing a winter cloak. It is made out of a heavy, durable wool, and it is a deep crimson red color. And aside from that, she is in her birth form, so she is in Krynos. And appearance-wise, she looks very generic as far as a werewolf goes. Like just very classic timber wolf markings all over her. And if anything, what would kind of set her apart from other guru around her is the fact that she has no regalia to her and her manner of presentation. Where other people may be wearing like many trinkets and items of like fascination from their respective tribes. Aside from that red cloak, Rota is basically as Gaia presents her.
Fair.
She would be hugging a book to herself, and in Hamid form, it would be a relatively large book. Like it would be like proper textbook sized. It looks to be like an unmarked journal or diary of some kind. In Krynos form, it looks like barely the size of a pocketbook, and it almost just disappears into her palm. And she keeps one of her hands like just closed very tightly around this, as she's looking at her fellow packmates. And I need to look at her backgrounds really quick. Okay. Although in the time that she's been here, she would have likely tried to make friends with Listener of the Wild and Song of Remembrance. Of the elders, those would probably be the two that she would be the most likely to open up to first.
Very good. Oh, very good. You mentioned a context I forgot to give. Funny thing about both the Lore Keep and Spymaster, as I've mentioned, they're respectively from Children of Gaia and Shadowlord tribes. The Sept previously was exclusively Get of Fenris, at least in terms of having offices and permanent residence. It changed over the years for many different reasons, the main one being the Grand Elder, who doesn't have a massive stick up her ass. But concessions were still made, probably to appease the tribe as a whole. Some would say the Grand Elder leads the Sept and represents the Sept first and foremost, and Counselor Lothar represents the tribe's interests. What is the difference? Nobody could tell you for certain, especially because her word is law, and if he's not pleased about something that she decides, well, he's gonna have to suck it up. Still, while the Spy Master and Lore Keeper could well be into Elder rank, there are actually Athro, rank 4, the Spy being in the Elder Council. It's been implied that this is kind of the deal. The only true elders allowed in the council belong to the Get. How long that will last, though? It's a good question. Some whisper around the Sept that the Grand Elder doesn't really care for this rule and thinks it's just really getting in the way of things rather than helping. Although, in the case of Song of Remembrance, he does look just a little bit younger than his fellow elders, although undoubtedly accomplished for his age, if he is an Atro after all. And you would have definitely had some success trying to become familiar with him. He is a very welcoming and gentle person, very soft-spoken, great listener, but he is a Galliard, so when people want him to speak, he can do that for a long time, non-stop. And he definitely would have made sure you felt welcome as a fellow Krynosborn, as he knows intimately how those things can be.
I would have likely absolutely driven him mad with questions.
No, because he answers all of them very excitedly.
Okay, well, I'd be asking many questions, because a lot of my knowledge of Garou and werewolves, and society in general, comes from my fairy tale books. And so I'd be, like, constantly asking questions about, basically where the parallels between fairy tale and reality begins to blur and where it doesn't exist. In terms of, okay, is the book absolutely wrong about this? Like, is that not how things are in the world?
He probably likes you a lot at this point.
Okay.
If that's what you've been conversing about, he's definitely very happy with you.
Yeah, I'd be asking, I would be asking tons of questions, ones that I would probably already know most of the answer to. Simply because I cannot stop myself from asking questions of another Galliard. Both when I look at my curiosity flaw, as well as my addiction to stories.
Unfortunately, however, unlike the Lore Keeper, who is incredibly easygoing and loves teaching younger Garou in general, he would make an excellent den father if he really wanted that, to be honest. The Rite Master, however, it's a bit on the opposite end of the spectrum. She's a very no bullshit sort of woman. Not the best temper. And she usually spends most of her time in her own little den performing her duties and communing with the spirits, and doesn't particularly enjoy being bothered by anyone, really, unless it's of importance. If you've tried talking about the spiritual world, or maybe about rites and stuff, she might have given some ear to it, some of her time, but the moments you can even catch her free to actually sit down and talk are already few and far in between. And she doesn't seem like the chatty type. She's a very practical woman. If you come looking for her, you better have a solid reason. Get that sorted out and be on your way. She's not the sort to sit down and chit-chat for hours. At least, not that you've managed to crack the code yet. If there is something that makes her sit down and talk, you've yet to find out what that is.
Interesting. Okay, I probably wouldn't have pushed it too much, mostly because it is the tail singer that I would be primarily concerning myself with here. And aside from that, I'd have been daily performing Rite of Still Waters. My mom was always very, very, very heavy on me teaching myself how to restrain myself in public. So having that Rite of Still Waters to help me stay calm is good because when I get mad, I cannot stop myself from changing into Krynos.
Yep. Which can be a huge problem when you're anywhere but the Sept. Luckily, Black Forest is really a paradise for Krynosborn, in the sense that it is surprisingly mostly untouched wilderness. It's very easy to just be isolated from society. So werewolves do have a bit of an easier time growing up in here. Both Lupus and Krynosborn benefit from a location such as this. If only there were more of you around. In general, all werewolves, really. Except could do with more faces.
Seeing essentially most people, most of the other packmates in some form, in Homid, class who is in Lupus form, I think would probably be a little bit more nervous, not exactly understanding how to do things, a little bit of pacing, but generally, once Rota has started to bug people, just sort of hanging out around her. Maybe sitting slightly to the back, observing, but clearly being around her.
I assume you're in wolf form.
Yes.
Lupus or Hispo?
Lupus.
Okay. For you, both you and Rofa, really, the cold bothers you to the less because you have the advantage of your fur covering you. Regardless of whether your clothing has adapted to your form or disappeared entirely due to the rite, the fur helps even better than any clothing. But there, you can still feel the cold more than you usually would. It's odd. And Klaus, you grew up in these woods. You've raised your young in these woods. Black Forest can get cold, don't get me wrong. Black Forest can get really cold at the height of winter. But this feels odd to you, and very out of place. Of course, Rafa is also very familiar with these woods. But being a wolf who spent the majority of your life with those nature-attuned instincts, without the interference of other more abstract thoughts, you know nature in a more intimate way than any of the others.
Definitely, definitely contributing to the anxious and anxiety and just looking generally unsettled.
While it is not entirely surprising for some early snow, this feels different. Something just screams out of place. Not exactly wrong, But just, you wouldn't see that happen naturally. And even for the amount of snow, the skies are relatively clear. The depth and the harshness of this cold feels different. Almost oppressive. And speaking of those familiar with the place, for a better context of things, Torsten and Jacob, you have definitely arrived recently, and you've spent very little time here before you were thrusted into the motions of things. And Torsten, you at least had someone to guide you.
Mm-hmm.
But that means you spend most of the time within the city of Kempten, with just the occasional trip to the Sept. You're not overly familiar with people yet, besides your mentor, who's probably cozy by a fireplace at this time, the bastard.
Yeah.
So you haven't had your time to fully acquaintance yourself with the Sept and its culture, although you've been told a few things. Superficial stuff. Yeah. Something you could maybe read in a summary book. Wink, wink.
I have a basic grasp of what's going on. I have a very basic grasp on the names and titles here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mentor basically said, "Don't worry, you're gonna find out the hard way. That's how we all learn. You're a survivor, kid. Good luck."
Yeah.
And that's the 1 hours for you.
If that is okay, if I can just start pesking people in a roleplay kind of situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt anything. So,
but before you ask, just to finish that bit of context.
Give me context.
Klaus and Rotha, as mentioned already, you grew up in these woods. Of course, Rotha, you were mainly in that cabin in the woods with your parents, with the occasional trip around the woods, but not the free range a wild wolf would truly have, living off of the land as really should be. And you probably arrived, well, in the case of Rota, it's up to you and I guess your kinfolk parents, how long it took after your first change for you to be taken to the Sept, but Claus was probably found pretty quickly by the same pack that likely found Alexander, but we'll get to that in a bit. How long you've been in the Sept exactly, it's up to you both, but in your case, could have been a few months already, learning the basics, especially in the case of Klaus, who really needed to be taught how to actually speak both Garou and human tongue. Thankfully, there are spirits that can help speed up the process, but it's still tricky. Sadly, nothing of the sorts that instantly, magically makes you understand everything and be fully fluent with a rich vocabulary, but you're getting there. Alexander, on the other hand, it's kind of a similar situation that you were born in the region, you were raised in the region, you were found by this pack, and you spent a few months being trained on what you are, learning how to speak, all of that. You're sign-born, after all. You're born in bear shape. But you are not a wild bear. You didn't have that luxury, and despite being born in the region, you don't know these woods. And despite living in the region for your whole life, it's as new to you as it is to Torsten and Jacob. That said, Torsten wanted to say something, so the floor is yours.
I wanted to bug people. I don't know if Blag is here, because they are muted on Discord. So I think we perfectly timed this, where I cannot bug the person I wanted to in roleplay.
He apparently is, though.
He apparently is?
He is in Discord, but he is muted in Discord.
He is back in a sec.
Ah. Do you have a sec more context, or does anyone else have some?
Potty break, don't worry about that. Anyway.
If I were to insert anything, it would likely be that Alexander probably has more of a Curious George level of interest in, living life out in the wilds. Initially, spending most of his time with the Burijan and then the two people that found him. But after a while, kind of shadowing behind Ironjaw for any hunting missions or things that he can get himself involved in, because he recognizes that he is a bit bigger than most of the other people that are here, or the other Guru that are here. Seeing where he can leverage that to help out the people that helped him.
Worth a reminder, your mentor is right there if you feel like approaching or anything of such.
He is probably very proximal, kind of splitting the distance between the rest of his pack and his mentor. Or the rest of his assigned pack, I should say.
Yeah, that seems to be the implication. Your mentor has made it clear that that's not how you usually do things, but I want you to go through this rite of passage with these people and join the pack. Because we're doing things differently, and that's it. I will not elaborate. Thank you.
He doesn't know that this is a differently. This is just what is happening, and he's here for it.
Yeah, pretty much. She's implied this is not the norm, but she just didn't elaborate yet.
You're not normal. I'm not gonna tell you why.
I mean, she's right there. Either if you want to approach her alone, or approach with the pack, or call her to you, or not interact with her at all. I'm just saying she's there.
Take your time. I'm plotting with Marak in the background.
Ooh. Ooh.
You're plotting with other Ragabash? That's a crime.
Yeah, how dare.
When the Galliard and the Philodox plot, we know we're fucked. We're nowhere in trouble.
Problems being made afoot.
To be fair, though, considering how much of a cinnamon roll Torsten is, I am very interesting to see what kind of Ragabash he's going to become. Someone's screaming in my street.
Christ. I hope they're fine. If now is the time for that, because Black spoke, I can annoy. Torsten would
please.
Torsten would probably approach his character. Fucking. What form were you in? I'm sorry. What form is Jacob in?
I will say, Jacob's in Hamid form. He just looks like a big guy sitting on a rock. He just realized the depth of this event and decided that he's going to have a smoke about it.
Oh god, yeah. Okay, that gives me more reasons to approach you. Beautiful. No. By the way, are we going Jacob or are we going German Jakob?
Normally it's German Jakob. If he knew you better, he'd go by his nickname Peppy, but he doesn't. So here we are.
Yeah. To be fair, Torsten will probably approach him and be like, "Hey, can I bum a cig though? Fucking cold."
I'm so glad to be alive.
Jacob's just gonna chuckle Jesus, Maria, and Joseph. Yeah, sure, you can have one.
Oh, thank you.
Are
he's
these
just gonna,
normal nicotine industrial production cigarettes?
So in order, normal nicotine in normal nicotine, industrial. No, no, and no.
Ooh.
What are those cigarettes? What is he smoking?
Like at this point, he'd just be using his pre-roll joints.
Okay,
Oh.
so the people around here have given you side eyes, but they are of approval. Because if you were smoking fucking Paintex cigarettes, they wouldn't exactly be thrilled, but... Oh, smoking with please. So this is fine, actually, surprisingly.
Hey!
Good on you.
Yay, I made a good impression. Anyway,
Good call.
yeah, like, Jacob's very chill about, like, passing that along, like, you can tell that he's a big guy, but he's been feeling a bit cold since, like, he's got a leather jacket and a sweater underneath, like, good enough to keep off the cold for a bit, but, definitely more, like, if you were behind the wheel of something and not, like, really exposed to the elements as he is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like good enough to like keep the cold off, but not the weird, mysterious black forest cold we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tor-
you, before you two go on, let me just say, well, first of all, it helps, Jacob. That clothing definitely helps you, but it's, still biting through. The cold bothers you. Even if you're not freezing, you're not at risk of frostbite, per se, but it bothers you. It's hard to ignore the cold. The smoking helps. At least warms your chest and face. It's something. Whenever you're not inhaling the smoke and basking in its warm afterglow, you're very quickly reminded of the cold. And... No, I'll let Torsten say what you want to say first. And then we'll see that. And then we'll check that.
With what most would describe as a total disregard for the idea of personal space, Torsten will try and squeeze himself onto the same rock you're sitting on.
Which
And
wouldn't be
be
a
like-
problem if both of you were in the size of a moose.
Yep.
I mean, Jacob is used to tight spaces, so he knows how to make, like, some room for his recent new buddy.
My name is Torsten. You can call me Toddy or Mada. Both works. Who are you?
Jacob, more Peppy if you prefer.
Oh, Peppy, that sounds cool. I first of all, I could ask you for like some kind of clothing because you're like also big and they're all kind of like. They told me about werewolves and I thought they're all gonna be like huge and then they aren't. But you also seem like you're freezing your ass off. I didn't think it would be this cold up here.
Now that you mentioned that, I didn't think this was going to be the first. I didn't think this was going to be the first.
This game, I'm so sorry. This game is so beautiful because I cannot get a line of roleplay out without exposition happening. It's so beautiful.
It's not, unfortunately for you, it's not exposition. You wish I hadn't interrupted you right now. I didn't think this was going to be the first roll of the game, but this is the first roll of the game. So, Torsten, please, do a stamina roll for me. The difficulty is, for now, 6 for now.
I get a stamina roll. Oh, because I'm freezing to death.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
Just click on the. So you just open your sheet. You go to the skill section and just click on stamina.
Yes. Difficulty is 6.
Yes.
Let's go. That's good.
God damn. You're not afraid of frostbite just yet. With 3 successes in this, it's tough, definitely. It's trying to break your defenses, but you're a champion. You're a fighter, and maybe that extra meat in you helps as well, because you're handling it as well as you could in this circumstance. But, you know, you shouldn't count on luck for long. You can feel that this is fine now, but if it doesn't get any warmer, this is not going to be fine for long.
I don't know a lot about this society. One of our pack mates is walking around as a wolf. How rude do you think would it be to ask them if they can shave some fur off?
Very incredibly. You could just
I'm
change
asking a
your
person in
form.
roleplay.
You said that in role.
Yes, I'm trying to talk in the lowest register I got, but I don't go that far down, sadly.
Oh, so it's like Thorsten whispering to Jakob, right?
Yeah. Not whispering, by the way. I don't have.
How much
Thorsten
are you
does not have.
whispering?
I don't have the capacity to whisper.
No, I mean, you was you were Torsten.
Oh, Thorsten. Thorsten does not have the capacity to whisper. Thorsten
Then
is
it's
loud.
not a matter of rolling. Klaus heard that. Because Klaus is in wolf form, and you're not far from each other. There's no way you said that without being heard.
No.
Upon saying that, Klaus wouldn't necessarily show immediate wouldn't rage out or shout at you or anything, just looking very directly at you in the eyes and just raising the upper lip a little bit.
I think it would be very rude. Okay, I'm sorry, didn't mean it. Where the fuck do you get clothes around here? Do you know?
Jakob kind of looks around the area and says, "Yeah, I think your best bet is to grow your own at this point."
Okay.
You have been taught to shapeshift, Torsten.
Yeah, but I don't appreciate it.
I mean, how much you grasp it is another matter entirely, but technically your mentor tried.
Oh, they tried their best. They tried their best to get Thorsten out of the headspace of, yeah, but this is the real me though. I should look like this.
You can do this. Turns into a wolf. Torsten's just looking understandable. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm meeting new people. I don't know.
Is this a conversation that Alexander would be overhearing?
Absolutely, they're not whispering. We've established that much.
Giving a quick look over his shoulder at Grandmother Helena, he'll just kind of shrug and then get up and start walking over. He's like, you might be warmer if you eat something, and he passes off some smoked salmons, and then also tries to sit on the same rock.
There is absolutely no way for you to even try. They're already nearly falling off.
And then he probably sits. Yeah, he probably sits on the ground in between them.
Fair. That is more possible.
At this point, we'd all be sharing the same rock with a quarter of an ass cheek.
Yeah. Thank you.
Two of you have the huge merit. The other one is a guru. The three of you together are worth 2 packs in terms of purely size of people.
In sheer mass.
In sheer mass, you're worth 2 packs. You're just a lot of space.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Thorsten. You can call me Toddy or Mada. Both works. Who are you?
They've given me Alexander because I didn't have a name before I came here.
Oh, that's cool. Does that work for you? Do you like that?
That's what they gave me. I don't hate it.
Okay. The whole thing, or Alex or
Huh?
how's that? Alex? Can I call you Alex?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's very evident that he doesn't grasp that those two things are connected.
Okay. It's just, oh yeah, you can call me another name. Okay.
Yeah, just a fully different name.
Yeah, thanks for the fish though. That's very nice. This is
Yeah.
this is so weird.
Alex, you're carrying food, right?
Yes.
Let's see. Since you're sharing already, which I thought would come in later, stowed extra rations. Let's find out how many extra rations you have.
Okay.
Let's do it like this. You're gonna roll survival and I'll say resolve because it's your stock you've had for a while now. And anything else would end up in the same fucking dice pool because all the other things I consider rolling would result in the same dice pool.
Cool.
Good job with your sheet. Each
Hey.
success. This is a difficulty of 7, however, and each success means you can feed the whole pack for a day.
Nice.
Oh damn.
Ooh.
If nothing happens to
Botch
those
it and we all get
rations.
food poisoning.
I mean, if you fail, you just gave your last bit of food to Torsten. If you botch, then yeah, don't eat the food.
Christ almighty.
So 2.
Okay.
Isn't that like...
Was that how many
Oh,
I have
okay.
left, or is that how many I had before?
This is how you have. This is how much you have. This, what you
Yeah.
just gave is like a snack, doesn't count. But for 2 days, you
Okay.
can give, keep the pack fed.
Cool.
After that, well, you figure out.
As a rule question, just because I'm confused. The successes here work that there's a difficulty, and you roll a certain dice pool based on basically how many points you have in a certain ability, right? They just rolled and they got 2 10s and a 9 with a difficulty of 7.
Knew you would ask, which is why I didn't preemptively explain, because I was waiting for that. And this is a good
Yeah.
opportunity to explain to the audience as well, if anyone happens to be new to Werewolf the Apocalypse. So how does not only 20th, but revised edition also works? The rule of 1, some people hate it. I honestly don't. I don't hate it. I think it adds fun. Basically, you are correct. How Werewolf works is you have a difficulty, which is the target number your d10s need to reach, equal or above to have a success, and each success adds to the really overall result of your roll. Most rolls only need a single success to be considered successful, although there are marginal successes, so if you want to achieve a complex task with a single success, you only get half the job done, more or less, and tasks that require more than one success are usually extended actions, which means you have to roll more than once. However, reaching the target number isn't all it is. There are 2 extra rules besides rolling the target number or above. The first one is, and the more common, the rule of 1. That is, each dice that comes up as a 1 reduces a success. So in this case, he rolled 2 10s and a 9, but he rolled a 1. So the 3 successes became 2 because of the 1. However, there's an extra rule on top of that are botches. If none of the die had come up as successes, and he had rolled, and any of the die had rolled up as a 1, it would be a critical failure. Now, the important distinction here is, let's pretend those 2 5s were 1. Let's pretend he rolled 3 1s. That would result his successes to 0. That is just a failure, because had 2 10s and a 9. If those 10s and 9s were also below the target number, also below the difficulty, which means he would have gotten no successes either way, but on top of that a die also rolled as a 1, then it would be a botch, a critical failure, and things would go above wrong, worse than wrong. However, if this applied either by attribute or skill to his specialties, those 10s would count as 2 successes instead of 1, which also, good to clarify, Alex, what was your resolve specialty again? Dedicated.
Dedicated, yeah.
Hmm. Need to think. I need to think. Dedicated.
From what I recall, is more about being kind of kind of stubborn and hard to dissuade, more than it is about being like very diligent and focused in what you're working on.
Agreed. Yeah, I wouldn't say your character was worried about gathering food for survival reasons, and more like I might get hungry along the way, and that's how that's how it went. So yeah, unfortunately, doesn't apply to the circumstances here.
Mm-hmm.
But if it did, you would have had more successes than that, and that is a clarification of rules, both for the players and those watching. You may go on. But now you know you have food for 2 days worth of keeping everyone in shape.
Cool.
Also for Mundus, I just want to quickly clarify. I am sure you probably did choose, but because the Foundry sheet doesn't allow to put his specialties in before you have 4 dots, do note down in the bio part of your sheet the specialty for expression and academics. Just so we have a easy reference to remember which is which. And by the way, for all players,
for which?
expression and academics. Because a reminder to everyone, and again another lesson for those watching, expression, crafts, performance, academics, and science, and technology, which I usually forget about, all have 3 specialties so long as you have at least a dot in them. You don't need to have 4 dots to have a specialty in those. You always have a specialty in those.
That's impressive. I managed to pick up none of those.
Yeah, I was checking everyone's sheets to make sure I didn't miss anyone, and you somehow managed to escape that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I always forget technology has a free specialty, and honestly, like, I can kind of understand, but then again, is technology even worthy to have as a separate skill? That's not for this session to discuss. That's not for any stream to be discussed. That's just a thought I'll leave out there in the world. Anyway,
I like mine.
I mean, yours is pretty good. I like the specialty you picked for it. I think you're the only one who has technology.
Ooh.
That also makes me think I need to make you play Mutant.
I don't know what that means, but cool.
Don't worry, give me a few months. Frostpunk 2 is releasing in July, so everyone knows what I'll be running for the second half of this year. Mutant Year
Let's
Zero.
go.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and check out my specialties that I picked.
You probably didn't save. Whenever you guys write on any text boxes, you have to click the arrow with the save thing. Otherwise, it just resets.
It's a little annoying, but
It is.
I went ahead and saved it.
Oh.
Oh, and it deleted them all. That is
Yeah.
delightful. Okay, let me.
Oh yeah, it'll do that.
Foundry can be funky sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Would you be able, Lee? Would you be able to just remind me of who is the theurge in the pardon me, in the Council of Elders?
Both the Rite Master, who is not in the Council of Elders, but she is a theurge, and the Grand Elder herself is a theurge.
Okay. At this point, I think after sort of listening to Rota talk the Galliard's ear off, just standing to one side, I think Klaus is going to approach the Rite Master.
Is Rotha actively talking to the to the Lordkeeper right now?
Sorry?
Is Rotha speaking to the Elder, the Galliard Elder, right now?
I would probably be a combination of speaking to the Galliard and also giving Klaus
So
a
you two
very wide-
approached those two.
Hmm.
Is that right? In the meantime, well, as the other three were trying to share a rock between three massive creatures, you approached the two to talk to them. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Just to make sure. Anything else the three of you want to say or discuss about before we move to that? That is Thorsten, Alexander, and Jacob.
I'm fine. I'm fine, I think.
Good.
I'd love to know more about Alexander, but I'm happy to let the people have their time to shine.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, you can always give the contest in DMs as well. And a reminder, we do have tax role-playing. Although that's more for in-between sessions. Blard will be very familiar with that from my previous game, but that's a discussion we'll have after the stream to better contextualize how that is going to work now we actually start. But anyway, moving on. While the three of you share food and discuss how weird this gold is and how bad this gold is, you two approach the two, well, elder from your perspective, after all, you're still cubs. Klaus, you try to approach the Rite Master, so the floor is yours.
Approaching the Rite Master, Klaus is definitely going to have sort of tail tucked underneath, dipped head, not looking directly at her eyes, being as respectful as possible, and is going to ask, oh, now I need to get into the voice. What is wrong with the forest? This snow.
Before she answers a question, is it just natural reaction, or is Klaus trying to impress any specific, like, are you trying to appear submissive? Are you trying to appear respectful? Or trying to make a first impression? Or just reaction?
Probably just a reaction.
Okay. If there was intent, then you would need a roll. But in this case, it's just fine. She looks at you with a puzzled expression as Song of Remembrance really very quickly loses himself in conversation with Ralph. Apparently, your pack is not the only autism werewolves. But then again, like I said, that's the whole game. Hi, we're all queer and neurodivergent, if that wasn't clear by this point. Anyway, she looks at you puzzled. What do you mean? There is nothing wrong with the forest.
This, it is too cold.
She smirks. Personally, not how we do things, but how I would do things. Her voice is very low and grumbled. She doesn't speak very loud. Not an issue for you, since you are in Lupus form. You hear her very clearly. If anyone was in Helmet speaking to her, they would kind of have to lean in. But either way, you are correct. This is part of the task. The Grand Elder will explain things in a bit. I don't want to get ahead of Ragnar and over detail things, but you're right. This right here wouldn't happen naturally. Not at this time of the year, not at this part of the forest. Well, maybe high up in the mountains, but not here.
I know.
This is part of your challenge. And believe me, kid, or rather, especially since if she's a Chronicle, I should say, believe me, Pop, it's only gonna get worse. She looks over at the other three on the rock. The only ones wearing their human skin. One which is barely dressed for any occasion, much less a cold occasion. And if I were you, I'll beat some sense into your packmates, because going furless into these mountains is a dead fucking sentence. But you didn't hear that from me.
You just like tip the head to one side. It says, "But you said it."
Did I?
Yes.
She smiles. Don't worry. You'll pick on sarcasm in another month or two. Believe me, the get are full of it. I wonder. She looks around. She stares at the four elders still engrossed in their own conversation, and then looks back at the two Krynos born right beside you, who should be hearing all of it, but are so engrossed in their conversation it might as well be deaf to whatever you're saying. And she looks back at you. What do you make all of it? Wolfborn. Half Moon. Didn't start off in the best footing, did you? But here you are, a second, even third lease of life. And there is a hold on you. Whether you're going to answer it or not is going to be interesting to see. But what do you make out of all of this? I'm wondering. This is all still very new to you.
Those apes don't know what they're doing.
That we can agree
If they
on.
do not, if they do not learn, they will surely die. In the cold, in the snow.
Do you mean your packmates? Because that's what you are now. It hasn't been over yet. Technically, nobody would judge you for saying you're not a pack yet, because really you aren't. But, do you mean them? The three of them? Right over there?
Yes. Also, I would not. It will be difficult making a pack with those ones.
Let me tell you a little secret, if you will tell you beforehand, as it's not really any sort of law-breaking sort of thing, but it's kind of expected that if you go through the Rite of Passage with a group of people, you stick around for at least a while before you move on to other things, other people. You're not obliged to stick with them if, by the end of this, you recognize as Cleaf and you want to Tactile and run, that's up to you. But if you're gonna stick around, you're gonna have to be part of some pack. As of now, they're what you have, and for the next few days, they're as dependent of you for their survival as you're dependent on them. What you make of that is up to you, but you, better than any of them, know what a pack means. There's no such thing as lone wolves. Don't let the tales fool you, because there certainly are tales. There are lone wolves, maybe, but no lone guru. If packs matter to wolves, as you know they do, they matter thrice as much to the guru. No, I'm not pleased about everything. Fuck, I'm not pleased at being sent to the middle of a sept of get of Fenris. But Ragna? Fuck, she could be a matron of the Black Furies. I bow to her. She hasn't got her position out of nothing. And at the end of the day, I'm here to perform my duties as well. And I'm performing them for Gaia and to protect the wild. We're standing on one of the last pure places on Earth. It might not mean much to you now. You might not understand what the world abroad is. But once you realize there's a whole globe, and that most of the forests are gone, that we can count of our new. She opens her hands in a dramatic motion. New pairs of fingers. How many pure forests like these remain? You're gonna start appreciating the sept a little bit more, because what we have in Black Forest is not what most septs have. This is a luxury. One which we're almost losing. Holding on by a thread, and there are things in the woods. You probably felt it already. Wrong things. Things that don't belong, and they're gonna try and take it from us, and we're not gonna let them. But you can't do that alone. You couldn't raise your cubs alone. You had a father to your children. You had your own parents who helped you raise your cubs. Yes, I know of them. Don't worry. They're being well guarded as of now. We would all ensure that. We would all die to protect them as much as you would. So you know we can't protect a pure place like this on our own. I don't like everyone I work with. You're not going to either. And if Griffin has as much as a tight hold over your heart as it seems to have, you're gonna really struggle to care about anyone but your pack. Your original pack, I mean. But it's necessary. Even for them. Even for your cubs. That you make some exceptions. You don't need to like anyone, but tolerate and work together and make of that what you will.
Have you ever been caught in a trap?
Oh, that's the first time I laugh in a while. Oh, so many. Once you know the spirits, there will be so many traps. And this is just talking about the spirits, because that's not where it's going to stop. Yes, I know traps really well, but I don't think we're talking about the same kind. I know what you mean. Yes, I've fallen to those, and I've fallen to worse.
How do you work with them? The ones who...
Because
when
they're
I look
not
at
all...
them, I see my own pup trapped in a wolf trap.
And
How do you
nobody...
push past that?
And nobody's gonna hold that against you. But they're kinfolk too. I stand between worlds. I'm not like them. She looks at the three. Currently in homid shape, although only two of them are truly homid. And she side-eyes the other elders, three of which are homids. I'm not like that. But I'm not like you either. And I've learned to love our own kind before I came to love any human, and even then, I was raised in a culture that understood that there are those who trapped, those who are trapped, even among those who hurt your pup. You've killed that man, and you should have. And you should be fucking proud of it, not... But not all of them. Surprisingly, as is some of them, if you gave them a trap in their hands and told them to use it, they would look at you with despair in their eyes. They wouldn't know where to start. We could make them paper shreds if we wanted to. You know what's paper already, right? They shown it to you.
Rota's book
Right.
thing.
How easily
That's
could
paper.
you... How easily could you turn that to tiny bits? That's what we can do to them. But how many of them could do that to us? How many of them would? You've met the worst of them. Hopefully you meet the best. Not many. Sad. I can't say I care about all of them. But I understand some of them are like me. After all these many years, I understand that. And it's tough sometimes. Unfortunately, it is also necessary. And if I couldn't understand that, how different would I be from the worm throwers who see everything as something to decay? You will learn on your own terms, in your own time. And maybe your pack mates are gonna help you understand that. I was honestly worse than you when I was a cub. I hated everything. I loathed even my sacred mothers. Why was my mother's sin pinned on me? I couldn't get it. Didn't make sense to me. If it was up to me, I would be alone in the woods doing my own things, and everything else would be in my claws, but I quickly learned that means nothing. It's very easy, sweetheart. Look at my fur, black and white. That's how I saw the world. That's how a lot of young Furies, and that's how a lot of your all see the world at first, and no one can blame us for that. Gray? Oh, that's hard to learn. It's even hard to figure out what you do with that. But you'll learn. It won't always be easy or pleasant, but you will learn. You have to. The alternative is not pleasant. I would know.
Klaus is going to nod once again and retreat, but just before it does, is going to say, "Thank you. You were wrong, though. I could not. You said it would be easy to rip Rota's book to shreds. I don't think I could do that."
But you already learned. She smiles.
And then backs away.
In the meantime, Rotha. What is the engrossed conversation you're Oh, Mondas just said BRB, so never
Yeah.
mind that. In the meantime, the three of you are talking, and a massive bear woman approaches you. You all turn your heads to her because she shadows over you. Yuri?
Yeah?
You were going to say something?
I literally just said hi. Sorry.
No,
Knee-jerk
fair.
reaction was hi.
She looks at each of you and then she settles her eyes on you, Torsten. She sighs deeply. What are you doing?
I'm smoking and eating fish.
She looks
What do you-
you up and down like 3 times. In naked skin.
I'm beginning to think that I should probably be a wolf right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna get a jacket.
She does not reply. She just stares each of you individually deep in your eyes. Her arms are still crossed. And she just nods negatively.
Okay, there was a very nice person who like kind of tried to tell me stuff, and a lot of the time they just said, like, you will figure it out.
Cub, do you know how to change your form? There's a motorcycle in my street. I'm going to murder every single biker in this town. I love bikers in fiction, not when IRL bikers cut the fucking, I don't know how that is called in English, actually. I just realized because I never had to say it. The part where the fuck, I do know how that's called in English, but I'm forgetting. I had a whole glass of whiskey. Hello.
The muffler?
And you said that in German. I love you. But yes, I'm going to say yes, that is why. I don't know how common that is in other countries, but in Brazil, some people just cut that part off to make more noise with their bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have very exhauster. Thank you, Zelf. Exhauster. They just cut that off to make more noise, and I have very sensitive ears. That might be the undiagnosed shit I have that makes me more sensitive to this noise, but when I hear that, I get very angry, which is why I'm going on this rant, because I cannot hear it. And I feel very angry, because I hate repetitive and loud noises. Hi, I don't have diagnosis,
valid.
but you can guess what I have. Anyway,
So valid, and we are
she
here.
asks, do you know, Pop, how to change shapes? To you, Torsten, specifically.
Yeah. I don't enjoy it that much, but I guess if it's the only alternative to freezing.
She frowns. I can
Oh.
guess why, but care to elaborate on that?
Oh, it just doesn't really if I got that right, not everyone is born like in the non-furry skin. Like
She-
there's people who are born. Yeah.
Actually, let me see. This is the wrong sheet. Here.
How much patience does she have for my bullshit?
That's not it. That is not even
Okay.
it.
That's making resolve rolls.
Yeah, I'm this close to asking werewolves are real. What do you mean it's wrong?
She just smirks. Torsten, to you, this is all very wild because you've only been taught about werewolves, and this is a whole wereberry. You have not been taught about this. This woman is
Yeah.
a puzzle to you. You're looking at her, you already don't understand the other things, but you understand her even less. But
Yeah,
she
it
always
is- it is-
smirks at you. And she shakes her head, but it doesn't seem condescending. She seems to be amused. You're correct. The likes of you and... She looks at Jacob. The other Hamid here were born in human skin, and the likes of my dear Alexander here, and she looks over the other two and stares at Claus, are born in their animal skin, and she looks at both Rotha and the Ride Master, not the Ride Master, the Lore Keeper Rotha is talking to, are born in their war skin. Changing shapes might be uncomfortable right now, but unfortunately will be a necessity. even
that
bigger a necessity the longer you go on with this life. I was born like you in a human skin, and look at me. This isn't exactly pleasing, but it's good measure.
Okay. If it's good. Okay.
Torsten, do you want to try to change
Yeah.
now, or you're just going to heed the advice?
No, I'm gonna try to change now. I want this woman to like me.
Usually, and that is a clarification mainly to the players. Usually, I don't ask for rolls on shapeshifting unless you're in a situation where that roll makes a difference, because right now changing shapes would be only fluff and there's no real gameplay consequence. But in the case of Torsten, it does have fluff context that makes this more interesting. So, with well, first of all, on your sheet, you're going to click on the little, for context, because I guess it's not where you roll, but it's a good visual guide. Click on the little wolf howling behind, in front of him. You have all the 5 forms there, you're currently in Homid. Torsten, which shape are you trying to change to? Go back to Homid.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Which one would you like? Glabro wouldn't be really a big of a change. Glabro is basically a human with... you double your size, which for you is a lot, and you do grow some extra hair. It would definitely be more bearable than Homid right now, but isn't furry as much as the other shapes are. Krynos, self-explanatory. Lupus is just a wolf, and Hispo is the in-between between Krynos and Lupus. It's basically a werewolf for a wolf. It's a triple-sized wolf that is very fucking scary, basically. Very sturdy.
I feel like Krynos would be his choice.
Okay, so on the right side of your sheet, you have the same icon. You click that. That is rolled for shape change. And you click on Krynos and just roll.
Just for my explanation, we are not really a pack yet, yeah? Like we as a group?
Technically not.
Okay, like mechanically we're not.
Yeah.
Is my question.
It's tricky. Yes or no, even in fluff terms, because technically a pack needs a patron binding them to officially be a pack, and you need to be acknowledged by at least a SEP to be a pack. But technically you're already being considered a pack because you're going through this together. You will come out of this with a patron, so potato.
But right now we're just some folks.
You're expected to get along.
Okay, so this is not easier for me. I will accept that.
I love that.
The timing of that was perfect.
And you got what you needed. 2 successes. Torsten. I knew I would get that wrong at some point. Torsten.
Nein, wir sind jetzt Torben und Thorsten. Yeah.
Well, I'm just feeding into the joke you didn't even explain and I somehow got mystically.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Torsten, you focus, you breathe in deep. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, but you focus and you remember what your mentor said to you in that raggedy, non-caring voice. And when I say non-caring, I mean that man couldn't have given a shit about anything in his life, but apparently he does have an agenda, so make that make sense. Welcome to the Bone Hours. Remember you say, listen, kid, after a while, the bone breaking and the sinew snapping thing gets used to it. That's not the worst pain you're gonna feel, so you should be getting used to that one right now, cause it's a world of pain right there, and you gotta be ready. And with that, you focus and you feel just that. Your bones break, but quickly reshape, regrow, and mend. Same as your muscle and sinew. Your skin stretches and every pore in your body just more than triples in hair, you feel your body changing, and thanks to that neat little rite your mentor taught you before sending you off here, your clothing doesn't become shreds, it starts disappearing. First adapting to your shape, but then mending into your skin. You really triple in size. You grow. Your jaw snaps and reforms, elongates, your body is covered in fur, and suddenly the cold is less of an issue, but you also feel the rage you have, little as is for a new moon, to burn harder inside you. Before you notice, after feeling every single inch of your body just burn, scratch, break, reform, and take a new shape. You are in Krynos. Which you can change in your sheet, by the way.
Yay!
You're a massive werewolf, the classic werewolf of legend.
Yeah.
You are, in your own terms, a furry right now. That helps with the cold, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, the reaction would be like a very, not really underhanded, just in pain muttered like, I don't know why it's a question why I wouldn't enjoy this.
It's very hard to talk in this form. You have been taught, perhaps superficially, the Guru tongue. In woven forms, you mostly communicate from growls and body language, and in Krynos, a mixture of human words with growling and rumbling and all of that. Of course, there's always the partial shift that allows beast form Kili to speak in human language, which is very funny when a Lopus does, because having a wolf just speaking whatever is the language of your setting is always very funny. Which again is also not a partial shift I really ask roles for unless it's in a relevant scene. When it's purely role-playing, I'm very lenient with that because that's just wasting time. But if it's interesting or could lead to funny situations or interesting plot points, then I ask for it. Anyway.
Absolutely. If that's the way of communicating, I would say, I think I can easily say, after the bones breaking and everything, I have the universal body language of that sucked. I didn't enjoy that.
That is very clear to everyone. My question is for Alex and Jakob, seeing that, do you follow suit or you stay as you are?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my first question is, did Torsten pass the J before shifting, or did that just like shift into?
No.
That was.
I integrated a joint and a smoked salmon into this form.
Oh wait, you mean if he's well, yes. Yes.
Also, very important clarification for me. I use spray paint to give the illusion of colored hair on this wolf form. It's important to me.
Nice.
Wait, you're painting. No, wait. No. Wait. Do you have a bag with spray paint cans, and after you should just pick one and paint your hair, Ginger?
Yes,
I love you so much. You don't understand.
That is so fucking good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bone knower who never played this game and is absolutely more bone knower than any bone knower has ever been written as.
We are fucking on brand. Let's fucking go.
I love this. I don't have words to express how much I love this. You've just changed into Krynos. As a character that's not used to that, you're in pain, which is lessened alongside your rage by the weed you just smoked. And after that, your first instinct is to reach into your bag, grab a spray pen, and just spray your head for Ginger. Ladies and gentlemen, Bone Hour.
I want to look a little bit like myself.
I love this.
Nice.
I love this. Anyway, Jakob and Alexander, do you shapeshift?
I'm actually gonna have Jakob just kind of like chill in his hermit form.
She's not pressuring you, by the way. She's just saying it's gonna get worse, and you should be wary of that. Her judgment was more on Thorsten because, unlike the rest of everyone, Thorsten doesn't have winter clothes.
Nope.
Not legit. Like he's just very much vibing, enjoying the display that Thorsten is offering, with a very like cheeky smile. Like, holy shit, this dude really went for it.
Love that. Alexander?
Alexander probably doesn't know what like high fives or fist bumps are, but like the expression that you give when you're like, "Oh, nice, dude," and then goes ahead and shifts as well.
Would it be bad if I stole from your... You do the one verbal expression to indicate goodness. As you put on your thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, you go for it. You can
Oh,
say
me
that
go for it.
if you want to. And you put that in your backstory, not me.
I did put that in there. I did.
Don't pussy out.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at it because it is funny.
Hit us.
It's funny and a little sad. It is just good, Torsten, and then but it sounds like the way you would say like good dog.
I think Alexander has only been taught good bear, so you look at Thorsten and say, good bear.
Mm-hmm.
That is so good.
And then he would
immensely appreciate that.
would
Helena
attempt to
blinks,
change
but
the
she
Ursus.
stays silent.
Helena, what?
She blinks, like you say good bear to a guru after
bear.
doing the thing, and she just blinks, but she doesn't remark.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Alexander also sticks to Helmet though?
No, he would shift to Ursine or Ursus, or attempt to at least.
I would say also roll for it, just because since this is a rite of passage in your all cubs, you're still getting used to it.
I don't have that button, so I'm just gonna do it the hard way.
What?
Yeah, for some reason the changing breeds she doesn't have that button.
Doesn't. Oh, great.
But I can see what it is, and I see that it's primal urge and stamina. And
Yes,
I
it
just
is,
need-
in difficulty 6.
Cool.
Oh, you do it. Even easier than Thorsten. You just shift into... wait. You're back into
Oh, I only get
Ursine.
4.
You didn't have even to roll this. This is your breed form. You just change
Oh.
back to your breed form. That is easy. Or, did you, change... You changed to Ursus, right?
Ursus, yeah.
Yeah, then you didn't even need to roll. This is your breed form. That is natural to you. You just go back to it.
So, kind of rolling forward and a similarly harrowing level of bone and sinew splitting. There's results in a kind of similarly sized, but just like fell forward Eurasian brown bear just hanging out, big goofy grin on its face.
Which doesn't make you much smaller, really.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Thorsten and Jakob, as you see Alex here change shapes, and you probably are seeing a bear up close the first time in your lives, you're starting to understand why people say that you should play dead if you see a brown. That is a whole fucking horse, but even bigger than that somehow.
Jakob kind of just like stands up from his rock and he kind of like walks over in front of Alexander and just asks, I'm not sure how to say this politely, but can I ride you?
Oh. Oh god.
Helena is just staring into nothing.
That was not what I was expecting in the littlest bit.
That was not what I was expecting.
Oh,
Want to ride the bear?
Helena, not the first
Pardon
time
me.
Blarg's character did that, but anyway.
Oh,
Helena
come on.
opens her mouth. She's not looking at anyone. She just closes it. She just resigns whatever fate lies ahead of the pack. Doesn't want to
Alexander
comment.
does look a little bit up first, because he does pick up on the fact that she's like reacting to this in a way, and so he is gonna try and just see if he can figure out what it is that she's like, what her reaction is.
Interesting. Roll empathy and wits, please.
Can I do that as well as I'm clocking that Alexander's trying to clock something?
You could clock her reaction.
This is definitely an observant
Yeah,
reaction.
because his is more a reaction. Like, you could clock her reaction, but not his.
I mean, okay. I was just like looking at him and seeing that he's looking at her. So I'm kind of like, huh? What's up behind me?
Alex, it's not a negative reaction, but she definitely seems surprised.
Okay.
She seems to be holding back a little bit. She doesn't seem bothered, but she's amused and shocked. For sure.
He would give kind of like a grunting affirmative and like nod his head forward and then like turn so that Jakob could like side straddle on him.
Jakob would like
Respect.
give. Sorry?
Just saying, respect for Alexander has now gone.
Jakob would like look to Torsten and ask him, can you give me a lift a bit?
Sure. I just wanted noted that Thorsten has never been this jealous in his life. Yeah, absolutely. He will try his best to give you a lift.
Uppies.
With that, Jacob would take off his boots and kind of like step up to ride the bear.
If you've ever smelled wet farm animal before, imagine that, but it's a wild animal.
It's not that
I mean,
big.
I
need you
have-
to know.
Okay, actually, I did smell that, so yeah. And yeah, Jakob also has.
Okay. Just getting you to know what you're getting into. And he just fucking takes off and is like just running around in like the little brush that's near this. I assume it's like a bonfire. A little
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty bad.
reasonably.
It's
present.
extant, but not necessarily obnoxious.
The context of the stream, I'm asking questions muted, but don't worry. As all of this happens,
Do you want me to murder that guy for you?
yes, as all of that happens, and there is a noise in my background that I absolutely cannot control, Grandmother Helena just stares at this and just nods. Huh. Maybe my decision was righter than I expected. This was not in the cards. Interesting. In the meantime, Rotha, what are you so engrossed about with the lore master, lore keeper?
So Well, I would be probably focused on more immediate questions, such as more localized legends and stories that are actually like directly set in the Black Forest. Like, hey, if we're werewolves and we're in the Black Forest, does that mean the big bad wolf is a thing? Um, um, I would
Pressure.
be asking about Hansel and Gretel and the Bremen, um, and basically trying to determine. Basically, I'd be asking about literally any of the local legends that pop into my head. Like saying, hey, does that mean this was real? Hey, does that mean this was real? Hey, does that mean this was
He
real? And basically,
thinks.
while having this entire like conversation back and forth, um, everybody else just kind of fails to exist around her. Like while she's in this.
Fair. In there. He seems to be in much the same state. He waits for you to get out of your questions out of your system before he interjects. Can I ask? Shit. Have I told you about our history? You asked with a big bad wolf. There is a car buzzing in my street. I don't want to kill myself right now. No, I want to kill other people, really. Because, like, regardless of how much of that is leaking into this stream and Discord audio, it is louder for me, and I hate that. It's sensory overload. Anyway, I'm gonna kill all my neighbors. He
I'm so
looks at you and says, "Have I told you about the incursion?"
He leans forward, says, "You haven't."
My mistake then. Seems I've been a bit... haven't kept to my duties as well as I hoped. There is a tale for a kind, older than any other, older than any human tale, before there was even paper to write on. Though some, the humans, drew with blood in the walls of their stone caves. We weren't always nice. Well, we still aren't, some would say, but we were worse than that. That was before there was even history. Some of us believed at that time humans first began to gather into tribes, that there were too many of them, and that was wrong. So we killed them. Simple as. Cold humanity. Some would say that was our Gaia given duty. Some say we went too far. Now I know how I feel and how my tribe feels about that, but I'd rather you learn the history and make up your own decision before I force onto you any opinions. Some say it was a necessary evil. Some would argue that how humanity stands off us today, expanding their cities, destroying woods, killing animals, is even an argument to return to those times. There are those who would say, even back then we went too far. We reveled bloodshed, and that the incursion is the reason why we even have in the litany the rule of not partaking in human meat. Regardless, it happened. That much is undeniable. We killed humans because we thought they were growing too numerous. They don't remember that, of course. We are but a myth to them, but that is why they have the lyrium first place, why they freak out when they see us. Some would say that it's also that ancestral memory of the times Garou hunted them down like prey, that they have taken in. Even our cat archetypical. Fuck. Anyway. Disliking for wolves, and why they have hunted wolves, and they villainize wolves, and why they have so many histories, so many stories, putting the wolf as the villain. Now, the wild wolves, the non-Garou wolves, have no blame in it, but given what our ancestors did, are really humans to blame for believing that? There is a big bad wolf in the woods. Who did that might have been thousands of years ago, but we still did it. Sure, it was our ancestors, not the two of us, you and I. Does that make us less guilty? Less responsible? The consequences are still ours to deal with. That is the main reason why humans have tails, big bad wolves. Why it took so long for the humans to understand the wolves as not villains. Some of them still struggle us too. They still fear the wolf, and that, undeniably, is the nation's fault, not only us. Maybe we were the worst aggressors. This is in many cases. You will find many tales around these parts. Come to learn the rural countryside, as the humans call it, has a bigger appeal for those tales you're so familiar with. More so than the big city folk, but I don't particularly like big cities. Too much noise. Too much everything. But too little wild. Or Gaia. Sometimes even more. No stars either. Shame. What do you make of that?
She thinks about this. And he says, well, every story is a cautionary tale when it pertains to being in the woods. I think it's only natural that if there are humans that break the laws of the woods, that they be hunted. We're all just animals, right?
Breaking the law in the case of the inversion. Now that is a funny thing. Did they? Did they really break any laws? Or did we impose what we thought right on them? Now that is not a clear answer, and most sources would argue they didn't. We just thought there were too many and that was wrong. Some would say the litany was Gaia's gift to us to organize our people. Others, and most others, will tell you the litany is a direct result from the Impurging. After we organized into tribes, after we became a nation, we needed rules. Learning from our mistakes, we put some down, such as not eating their flesh. Maybe they did break the rules of their forests. But didn't we also? Didn't we break their rules? On top of our own? See, it's never easy. right and wrong. Would all like that to be easy. We have a duty, that much is certain. There is an apocalypse coming, the world is out of balance, and we need to thwart his plans on destroying everything. All of that is clear-cut. How we go about doing that, right and wrong, how we decide those things, now that is the tricky part. Because to them, we broke the rules, you and I. We weren't even meant to be born. So if we say our ancestors were right to pull humanity for breaking the rules of the woods, aren't we also arguing for the rest of the nation to call both our parents and us for breaking the litany we ourselves created? Is it that simple?
Rota thinks on this for a moment. And she says, well, the circumstances of my existence are rooted in the breaking of the litany. Is my fundamental existence considered a sin of its own merit?
That's a question you are going to have to answer on your own terms. And then make it known to the rest, I suppose. Just let me tell you, in here, in this sept, you have a chance. I don't have many praise to say to the get, but they are fair, and they are practical, and they do not punish the likes of us for the sins of our parents, if we can even call that a sin. But even above that, in this act, we have a chance. Many would disagree that I deserve a place in this council. Not the Grand Elder for sure. Most seem to respect me around the sept. What will become of you depends on your deeds. Now, I've heard your parents were Get kinfolk. Though, as I've heard from the listener, beside Ice, the Black Fury, seems something else got a hold over your heart. Now, even though your parents were from where they were, it seems they've chosen something else, and it seems that something they chose also chose you. Following that path, what you make of your own renown is up to you. Maybe you're not here to learn all these lessons, but to teach a lesson to those that are still to come. Ultimately, it falls onto you. It's your choice and your path to follow. But I know I've gone against fate. Yes, the children of Unicorn are lenient. But I made a name for myself, and it is respected. There is a chance. The start may be grim, but it's not the end, and hopefully that is not only true for our kind, but for the broader issues at home, for the bigger picture as well. But keep that in mind. Those that came before us made a mistake. We stand at the unique privilege of the present, of setting precedent.
Rota nods. and says, "Thank you for teaching me."
It's the least they could do. Anyone else has anything else to do or say before we finalize this?
No.
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 I mean, I'm riding a bear. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
else I'm supposed to stop that with.
If I had a penny.
And yeah, well,
I had a nickel for every time.
Listen. As all of that comes and goes, the four elders, not amongst themselves, give Lorekeeper a look. He excuses himself from Rotha and joins them, and the Rite Master points to the both of you. You should probably go rejoin your pack. And even Grandmother Helena proceeds to her tree. The Council of Elders, all five, stand before you. Grand Elder Ragna, voice of Gaia, takes a step forward. She smiles, she looks at each and every one, nods, opens her arms. Grandchildren, time has come. It has not been an easy ride for any of you. Trials and tribulations of destiny that brought each of you here, but at the end of the day you are the chosen of Gaia. In each of you is a miracle, a blessing. But the path forward is arduous. This is the first of many challenges ahead of you. See this not as scrutiny or needless hardship, but a lesson, preparation for the much harder challenges to come in each of your futures and fates. What I have learned this long life of mine, the fate is something you make for yourself. As of now, you stand as a pack. Whether such will still be the case afterwards is entirely up to you, and whether you stick with us is also your decision. But until then, it is time. The rite has begun. She points to a gate made of stone. Crude. Stone on top of stone, not anything fancy, handcrafted. It seems to be old, worn out by time. Shrubbery around it, vines growing along it. Once you've crossed its threshold, it begins. You must hike up to the peak of the mountain. You may look now upon it and think you understand it. Maybe some of you have seen it in maps, hiking trails. Maybe some of you had the luxury of hike through those mountains before, but I assure you, it is no path you've ever known, or that you will ever be able to cross again. What lies ahead of you is no men's land, or a wolf's land. The path of heroes and of cubs that are to stand as Guru. The lines between this world and the next will be blurred. You will face challenges as individuals and as pack mates, as auspice, as tribe, as the person you are, and as a group. Everything from here on out is a test. Small pieces that compose your whole. By the end of it, if it goes your way, you will stand as Cleve, ready for what's left to come. This is your last chance, Cubs, to ask a single question, each of you. And after that, you're on your way. So, do any of you have a question?
Boss is sad.
I would ask if there is if there are, I guess I would ask about the nature of the rite of passage that we're about to go on through this gate. I would basically be like, is this a challenge of our minds, of our spirits, of our bodies?
She smiles, she nods, and simply says, yes. Every aspect of you, again, as individuals and as a pack, will be tested. Your survival capacity, your ability to work together as a team, your Luna given roles, as well as the patrons that hold interest over you, be it as a pack or as individuals of a tribe. You will be challenged in each of those. Some challenges will be more personal than others. Some challenges will specifically test your ability to work together. How you discern each is a challenge in on itself. There are animals on the track, as there are spirits. You can cross the gauntlet, but sometimes that will be done for you, and telling which is which will be, again, a challenge on itself. At the end of it all, this is your journey, and your judgment and discernment upon things is up to you. Will inform us, both us and the spirits, of who you really are. She looks at the rest of you.
If no one else is speaking up, I guess I have to revert to Homid so I can actually ask a full question.
You can technically speak in Garuto, but up to you.
I speak in very broken Garutang then. And ask what Great Elder, what are we allowed to bring?
What do you have on you? And before you can even answer, she smiles and nods, and that is it.
Oh.
There is no time to go back and grab anything. If you
no.
have it, you have it. If you don't, you better find it on your own. I doubt the totality of you five has enough food for the whole journey. Like I said, you won't be alone in those hikes. Use your skills to the maximum of its capacities. Adapt. Overcome. Make it to the end. That's all that really matters.
Big nod.
Is that all? Or shall we move on?
I can Jakob is gonna like nod and say, I mean, if we have only one question, I've got one for you.
She looks at you.
If you were a cub and were going through the same rite of passage, what would be 3 things you wish you had?
She's gives you a wide smile. A pack. Confidence. And really? The capacity to listen to circumstance, to then adapt to it. It's what I did, except I didn't have one of those. I'll let you guess. Everything is a lesson to be learned, regardless. Is that all? She looks at the other two who haven't used their single question.
I have nothing to ask.
She nods. All of the elders present part ways and points towards the gate of stone, which you begin marching on to. Once you cross its threshold, you feel the cold deepen. You feel the air around you change and you continue walking. It's as if something moves you. Before you can even realize, looking back warrants you nothing. There is a fog encompassing you. The environment becomes whiter and whiter with fog and snow. Your steps harsher. The snow is thicker. Your feet burrow into it. As you go on, and you can feel deep in your hearts, things aren't as they were. You can hear the forest speak to you, trees and shrubbery shake, the wind howls. And some of you can even hear it, the whisper of those who came before you. At all times there is a feeling you're being watched. Your steps are not lonely. There is howling in the distance. Hundreds of voices coming together, howling in a harmony, harsh to understand. And you march, and you march. There is a weight upon your chests, anticipation. This is where it begins, and it won't be easy. Each of you feel a singular presence watching over you, and then another one upon all of you. It's hard to discern, however. look at each other, and then you look ahead. Come to a stop. You don't even know how long you've been marching. But you're in dense mountain woods. There isn't even really a track to follow, a hike trail. This is as deep wilderness as it gets, even more than you're accustomed to. This is it. Primordial, ancestral, spiritual. It's begun. Your ancestors surround you and nod and bid you farewell as you march deeper. Your rite of passage has begun. You have a single objective: hike on forward to the top of the mountain to claim your adulthood, your autonomy, your independence, your renown, your place in the nation. And as you march on forward, this is where our story ends. For now. For another night of howling to the moon.
Fucking hype!
I'm so upset. Rah, rah, rah.
Any closing remarks?
I need to go.
I am well
Sorry.
aware.
Yeah, no, I need to go. I need to go teach high school kids how to not put poison in their eyes. Goodbye.
I know how that feels. Good luck.
Good luck, boss.
I just IRL waved like they might have been able to see me. That was. Oh,
It is a lot, yes.
so hype.
This is a lot. I'm very hype. I want to talk more to these people.
You will have plenty of chances, don't worry about that. Once you're done not dying to the elements. For the next, like, 4 sessions or so.
No, first time I meet the other players. I deeply need to apologize to the person, to the wolf I said I'd shave.
Well,
She just left the call.
Yeah, I know.
well,
It's
hopefully
gone.
you'll get that chance.
Yeah, just like my chance.
Apologize by not dying.
Yeah.
I will
Apologize
I will
by
be-
shaving your own fur and offering it as a peace offering.
I made you this sweater out of my tears.
Yeah, he cried your sweater tears.
I mean, given how cold it is, you probably could make a sweater
You
of your
probably could.
tears. It will freeze in place.
This will be fun. I want to be helpful.
Yeah, you might not even a single one of you is a Ghetto Fenris, which absolutely does not change the fact that this is a Ghetto Fenris Sept, and this is a Ghetto Fenris Rite of Passage. It is cold as fuck. And you will not be spared.
I think that my only like comment on that is that Rota's parents, one of them is a Get Fenris.
Hey.
Ooh.
I decided one of her parents is a Get Fenris, and the other is a I forget which one they were. A child of Gaia.
Mm.
But my parents are from Stuttgart. That's not gonna help me here.
No, they don't. They don't even know you're here.
No.
So, yeah, not gonna happen. Unfortunate. And also unfortunate that having a mentor for the two of you that have it means jack shit when you're on a rite of passage. Who would have thought?
Yeah. They don't want to help us.
Well, they can't.
I know.
I'm thinking
Well-
it's quite likely that it's Fenrir kinfolk that wound up raising Rota.
Yeah, you're not as surprised by this. Like, supernatural cold and hiking a dangerous mountain full of dangers. Yeah, I expected worse.
Yeah, it's like I think that my character went into this expecting to basically be facing like a gauntlet of attacks.
Which could still happen, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
I will
I
not
mean,
acknowledge self-spuns in the chat.
Hmm.
I am tormented by that every single day of my existence anyway. That said, a few final remarks to the folk watching us. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Those of you who stuck since the start of the stream, we have more viewers than I expected right now, and thank all of you who followed. The VOD will be available on YouTube. You can find the link in my Twitch description and all of the links in my... Don't think that's in my link tree, actually. I need to update that. But the VOD will be there, and I will be posting it on both Blue Sky and my Discord. For those of you watching on YouTube who've caught it after the fact, this game will be happening every Wednesday, Werewolf Wednesday, at UTC 8 p.m. Central Time, Universal Time 8 p.m. So Google what that time means for you, but you will find all relevant links in the description of this YouTube video. And hopefully we'll catch you live on the next one to follow the adventures of our pack. Can't thank my players enough for being here and for the absolutely amazing characters they've built. I am so excited to explore so many things. I cannot wait for this Rite of Passage to be done and you actually meet all the other NPCs, because somehow, without knowing what the meta plot is, each and every single one of you made a character that fits it so well and that adds so much to it. I am not joking. There is so much story here that I wasn't even like... I prepared my own stuff, and you made your characters, and somehow you just triple the things I've wrote just with your characters, and I'm shook.
Nice.
So I'm
That's
very
what
eager to
we're
see
here
how
for.
that happens. But the Rite of Passage will serve as a moment not only to introduce new players and viewers who are new to Werewolf to the setting as a whole and the mechanics, but also to introduce the characters and really form the pack. For those of you watching who are familiar with Werewolf, I make an invitation to you to see this as a reintroduction, to see this with new eyes, to skill all that you already know of Werewolf the Apocalypse, regardless of edition, regardless for how long you've known it, or how many games you've planned, or ran, or wanted to. Take a new approach. Think of this as you're opening the book for the first time. What do you see? What do you feel? I also extend that invitation for those of you interested in following our project, Werewolf the Essentials, which the socials of will be linked in the description also. This isn't a Werewolf the Essentials stream, officially, technically, but the spirit of our project is very much present in this. I am but one of the writers, mind you. I'm not at all responsible for it. That credit goes to Mundas, our wonderful director for this. Morek's already gone, but it is also another one of our writers, doing an amazing work with the Sky Singers, formerly known as Vienna. And I hope you all come to fall in love with this game a second time, as if it was the first. The same way I have, both running it in my own way and working on this project and reading all we've worked upon until thus far. For those live on Twitch in the stream chat, let me actually grab... Mundus, do you have the link tree of Werewolf the Essentials in handy? Because I don't. Because I will post that in the Twitch chat for people live interested in checking that out.
So, anybody wanting to learn the quick information about this can head to either deadmountain.gay or werewolf.one.
amazing. And
That's-
we
that's a great
also,
URL.
on this very day of the stream, March 13th, a Wednesday, as will always be forever Wednesday for these VOD VODs. A bunch of gamers has just released a new GM Talks episode, in which me, Mondes, and a fellow writer Dove are all featuring explaining Werewolf the Essentials. So go check that out after the stream. It's called binge watching. Make it Werewolf March for yourselves. With all of those remarks, thank you all very, very much. Follow both Mondes and Werewolf the Essentials on our socials. Song of Trillium in the case of Mondes. Do follow me in all of my socials. God damn it, I'm the one running the social bang. And please do follow Viri. He is a streamer here on Twitch. He's a lovely wolf streamer. He is a puppy, and we love him. If I'm not mistaken, tomorrow we have Buck Club.
Yeah, if you wanna step into, we're still at the beginning, kinda. But if you wanna listen to me read God's Guts by Terry Pratchett, that's gonna be happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. General time, whatever that's called.
Funnily enough, very recently we had a discussion about Discworld in the Werewolf the Essential server. How funny is that?
I'm reading Guards, so I think I'll be joining you.
Nice!
I've unfortunately never read it, but unfortunately my ADD makes it very hard for me to focus on these streams. But it is something that is in my read list. Hopefully I'll find an audiobook to listen at my own pace, because unfortunately that's what I'm working with.
If nothing else, I'm also uploading those streams in a cut fashion as what I call a hobbyist audiobook on YouTube. I can gladly send the link to that.
You have not told me about that, so you better be sending me the link. Thank you. I now have something to listen to while I work on commissions. That said,
I know who my friends and audience are.
That all said, thank you all very, very much. And I bid you adieu. I hope the rest of this week treats you well, and until the next night we meet, thank you, have a lovely time, and bring some kindness onto this world. Bye-bye.
Bye!
Deuces.